I think on the good side, there's a lot to be said. I think there are at least 3 categorical differences between what this administration has already done in the last 125 days and what the Bush administration did in its 8 years. One, and perhaps most important, is the categorical repudiation of torture and cruel and inhuman degrading treatment, not just by the military, but by the CIA and our intelligence services as well, to bring in line military and intelligence interrogation standards. I think that's a critical step, and one that probably is already too often overlooked. A second step that it's taken was the announcement, which I think was both politically courageous and legally right, to announce the closure of Guantanamo, which was something that the last administration had sort of expressed an interest in doing by the end of its tenure, but never quite brought itself to do. And what we're seeing now, at least in recent weeks, are the first steps toward actually effectuating the closure. We've seen detainees who have been transferred to other countries. We've seen one so far transferred to criminal trial here in federal court in the United States. And I think it's not going to be a pretty process going forward, but I think there's every reason to believe that's actually going to happen in the coming year. And then I think the third thing, and this is a philosophical difference as much as a practical legal difference, but I think it's both, is the administration has in the detainee context repudiated the view that the president under Article 2 of the Constitution has essentially unlimited inherent executive authority to detain people in the course of international armed conflict or non-international armed conflict, and rejecting that and insisting that the president, like everybody else, is bound by law and bound by the rule of law, I think is a critical step forward.
Mm-hmm. And so you've gone through quite a few major changes in just a short time that the administration has made. Nonetheless, on the panel, there were some comments and other concerns raised that maybe the administration has not gone far enough, quickly enough. State secrets and the use of the state secrets privilege in particular in the court by the administration is something that has riled some folks in the progressive camp. Is that something that you see as an issue that should be addressed as quickly as, say, closing Guantanamo Bay?
I do think it's an issue. I think, I can't comment with respect to the administration's bandwidth. I well understand, as everybody should, they have an enormous number of things on their plate. With respect to what they should be doing substantively on state secrets question, I think the answer is clear. Everybody recognizes that a government needs to be able to keep some information classified. But I think everybody also recognizes that in a democracy especially, and given our Constitution among other documents, there needs to be a presumption of openness and transparency. What happens in state secrets is, the existing state secrets doctrine, the way it's been deployed in the courts, is that instead of saying, well, we'll surgically say this information can't come in, this information can come in, is to dismiss entire pieces of litigation on the grounds that some information that would be involved is classified. I think most people recognize appropriately that that's an overly broad use of the doctrine. Members of Congress recognize that, and at least the administration has said, the president has said, we're going to take another look at this. In the meantime, they continue to litigate this very broad view of state secrets, and I hope they'll look at it again sooner rather than later. I think the way it's being used is still quite a bit broader than how it needs to be used. I would have liked to see the administration embrace the idea of a commission to look at what's happened in the last 8 years. One might imagine this is a backward-looking exercise, and I understand the desire to move forward, but at the same time it's critical for making clear to troops who are still in the field, to our agents who are still in the field and actively working to understand in a clear way what the rules of the game are that they have to play with. What happened in the last 8 years? What was wrong about that, both as a matter of law and as a matter of counterproductive counterterrorism policy? And I think if we had a nonpartisan commission, much like the 9/11 Commission, that could look at these issues seriously, not in a politicized way, but in a we need to do security right kind of way, that would be a benefit not just to this administration, but to national security policy going forward. I'd like to see that happen. Whether it'll happen in the coming couple of years, I'm not sure.